What if your customers are trying to find your business online, but instead of finding you, they find your competitors? Now, more than ever, it's time to make sure you have the right SEO to make your business stand out online. Welcome to Go Mind Your Business with Terry Bork, presented by Extreme Marketing Concepts, putting your business in front of the hungry herd of buyers who are looking for you right now. Extreme Marketing Concepts, helping you drive more traffic, dominate the market, and crush your competition. And now, here's Terry.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Go Mind Your Business on All of Your Business Radio. My name is Terry Bork, and today I'm with a very special guest, Bill Grodman. Welcome, Bill.
Thanks for having me, Terry.
You are very welcome. I'm looking forward to our program today. Bill is an insurance agent with Grodman Insurance, and we're going to get to learn all about the insurance industry today, and I'm very excited. I think the timing for it is perfect, especially after we just had Hurricane Sandy come through. So I'm really looking forward to our talk. Want to thank our sponsors, Extreme Marketing Concepts, for sponsoring our show today. Extreme Marketing Concepts helps put your business in front of the hungry herd of buyers who are looking for you and your business right now. So let's talk to Bill for a little bit. Bill grew up in New York State like myself, and he moved to Tampa in 1989. He's been in the insurance industry for over 20 years, and he's held several positions in operations and sales management. However, Bill followed his true passion and became an agency owner in May 2006. And since that time, Bill and his team have been able to build a great book of business thanks to his loyal customer base. His agency has earned several regional and national awards for quality business and customer service. And Bill's agency is an all-lines agency and serves the entire state of Florida. Their goal is to be a one-stop shop for all their customers' insurance needs, as well as an educator for the public on insurance matters, so they can be properly covered. Bill's also been married to Valerie, his wife, for over 26 years. They live in Tampa, and they have 3 children, Marissa, Will, and Gabrielle. Bill, again, welcome to our program today.
Thanks for having me, Terry.
Yeah, welcome. So my first question, I guess, is you share that you're an all-lines agent. So before we get into my individual questions, can you tell me what an all-lines agent means?
Certainly. We sell multiple types of insurance policies. We're not just an auto insurance agency, not just a life insurance agency, not just property insurance. We're able to, and our goal is to be the one-stop shop for all of our customers' insurance needs. So whether it's their home insurance, auto insurance, motorcycle, boat, life insurance, even helping with retirement plan. Our goal is to make life easy for our customers, so they don't have to go to multiple different insurance agencies to get their insurance needs taken care of.
Makes perfect sense. If you're looking for insurance and stumble across something that appeals to you from my conversation with Bill today, you can reach his agency by calling 813-336-4904. So, Bill, insurance availability is so abundant these days. What makes your agency different?
What we like to do is we like to develop a long-standing relationship with our customers. A lot of people these days, they're dealing with call centers, they're dealing with the internet. You could do that. However, you're not necessarily going to be dealing with a licensed professional if you do that. Our agency is staffed by everyone in our agency is fully licensed in the state of Florida. And we like to try to educate our customers on what they're buying, point out potential gaps, and try to help them close those gaps with the proper insurance policy.
Okay, great. So you mentioned a couple different types of insurance. What kind of insurance do you sell again? Auto and home and...
Auto, home, life, motorcycle, boat, jet ski, retirement products.
Got it. Okay, cool. Well, let's focus on auto insurance for a few minutes, if we can. Is auto insurance coverage mandatory in the state of Florida?
The state of Florida does have mandatory insurance requirements. However, it's pretty low. The minimum requirements to be legal driving around in the state of Florida is to have $10,000 in property damage liability, as well as personal injury protection in the amount of $10,000. All right, so your property damage liability, that's if you were to get into an accident, damage somebody else's property, whether it's a motor vehicle, a house, telephone pole, whatever it may be. $10,000 is what the state requires. Today, the average new car costs about $28,000. So if you're driving around with the minimum coverage, you could have some issues if you get into an accident.
Yeah, that does sound kind of low there. So how do you determine what types of limits someone should carry? Is there a one-size-fits-all approach?
Well, there's not a one-size-fits-all. Of course, the policy has to fit into an individual's budget. But more importantly, what you want to do is you want to determine what type of assets an individual has to protect. If somebody is barely making it, going paycheck to paycheck, they may not be able to afford a policy which has high liability limits. However, if somebody does have a lot of liquid assets, money sitting in the bank, multiple homes, they should really take a look at getting a larger amount of liability coverage. So everybody's situation is different, and what we try to do is help people realize what assets they have and what kind of limits they should be carrying to help protect those assets.
Okay, great. So when you talk about full coverage, what does that mean?
Full coverage is a term that we try not to use in our agency because it means different things to different people. It's nearly impossible to be protected from every type of risk that exists. Mm-hmm. But when people refer to full coverage, generally what they're referring to is that they're carrying collision and comprehensive, which protects the vehicle. And usually people are talking about full coverage when they have a vehicle that's financed, and they have to make sure they have protection for the company that's financing the vehicle.
Okay. Does the finance company require the minimum coverage, or do they require something a little bit more?
The finance company generally is going to only require that you're carrying collision and comprehensive to protect the vehicle. Typically, they'll allow you to go with as high as $1,000 deductible. However, if the vehicle is a leased vehicle, leasing companies require that you carry liability limits in the at the level of $100,000 per person, $300,000 per accident.
Got it. Okay. What happens if I'm in an accident and I'm not carrying insurance?
Multiple things can happen. If you get hurt in a car accident and you're not carrying insurance, and about 1 in 5 in the state of Florida does not carry insurance. If you get hurt in a car accident, PIP is what's going to be paying for your injuries. If you don't have PIP insurance, then your injuries aren't going to get paid for. That's number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, if you're not carrying insurance for your vehicle, then you're not going to be able to get your vehicle fixed. Finally, if you're not carrying liability insurance and you cause damage to somebody else's property or damage, physical injuries to another individual, and you're not carrying liability insurance, or you're carrying very low limits, chances are that you're going to be sued by the other party who you caused the damages to, and if that happens, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, what happens if I'm hit by someone who doesn't have insurance or an uninsured driver?
Okay. Again, first of all, if you're hit by that person who has no insurance, your injuries are going to be paid for by your PIP insurance coverage. It's going to pay your medical expenses, 80% of your medical expenses, up to $10,000. Okay, so if your injuries are below $10,000, your coverage is going to apply. If that person doesn't carry bodily injury insurance and your injuries exceed the $10,000, you could carry uninsured motorist coverage, which would go to pay for additional medical expenses for you, or you could look to your health insurance to pay for the remainder of your injuries. If your vehicle's damaged by somebody who's driving around with no property damage liability insurance, as long as you have collision coverage on your car, your own insurer should pay for your car repairs less your deductible.
Okay. Is there specific coverage that you wish more of your customers would buy more often?
The thing I'd wish more people would do is carry higher limits of bodily injury liability insurance. If you go to the hospital these days and you spend a couple hours there, it's pretty quick that you're going to get $5,000 to $10,000 in medical expense coverage. If you were to get into an accident, say put somebody in the hospital for a week or two, mm-hmm. chances are that person's injuries could reach, and the expenses could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Many people are driving around with 10, 20 bodily injury limits, 25, 50. And I think it would be better for society in Florida as a whole if people would carry the higher limits. It would avoid a lot more costly medical expenses that people have to endure.
Great. I notice the price of auto insurance in Florida, it seems to go up all the time. Every 6 months when I get my bill, it goes up a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. Why does it go up? What makes that happen?
There's multiple reasons why that happens. The cost of medical obviously is increasing all the time, as well as the cost of repairs for vehicles. On top of that, the state of Florida is the number one state in the country for insurance fraud. We happen to live in the greater Tampa Bay metropolitan area, and believe it or not, Tampa Bay area is the number one area for insurance fraud in the state of Florida. You probably read some about staged accidents occurring where people will plan an accident and then they'll go out and get involved with some perhaps unscrupulous medical clinics, and there's a lot of times PIP pays out, and it's going to pay out up to $10,000 per occurrence. Unfortunately, the PIP no-fault coverage is ripe for fraud, and those who want to take advantage of it have been able to do so over the last few years.
Okay. When you say PIP, what does that mean?
PIP is coverage that's required on your car insurance policy. It stands for personal injury protection. And basically what PIP does is three things. Covers 80% of your medical expense if you get hurt in a car accident, no matter who's at fault. So if you get hurt in that car accident, you're always going to look to your own insurance company to pay first.
I see.
It also covers 60% of lost wages if you're unable to go to work due to a car accident, and it also includes a $5,000 death benefit should you be killed in a car accident.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense. So we're talking about the price of insurance going up. As a consumer, what can I do to keep my prices or my premiums low?
Okay. Several things you could do. A, be a good driver. Okay. If you don't get into accidents, if you do a good job avoiding accidents, you're going to avoid getting an accident surcharge on your policy. The other thing that many people don't realize that affects your insurance rates is having a good credit rating. All insurers look at individuals' credit ratings, and they found that those with better credit ratings overall, and with the law of large numbers, statistically, are better drivers and get less accidents. So it's important to maintain your credit score.
Okay.
On top of that, many carriers look at how long you've been with your prior insurance company. Okay. If you change from year to year to year and get a new insurance carrier every time that you see a new commercial on TV, the chances are that's going to affect your rate too. So try to remain consistent. And again, insurance carriers look at what kind of limits you're coming in with as well. If you're coming in with low limits, you may not get as good a rate or a good rating tier as somebody who's coming in with higher limits.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you offer discounts in your agency for certain items? I know that one of the questions I got asked is if my car had an alarm on it. So are there other types of discounts that are available besides alarm?
Sure. Many carriers have discounts available on the auto policy, including good driver discounts. If you have an anti-theft device, whether it's an alarm or a low jack type system, oftentimes carriers have discounts if you're set up on automatic payment plans. If you're set up where you pay your policy in full every year, all those go to provide additional discounts and savings as well to the consumer.
Oh, great. So there's lots of things that I can do to help minimize my costs.
Absolutely. I'd recommend you'd speak to your agent about that and see what he could do to try to save you some money.
Awesome. Okay. We've talked about different kinds of auto coverage here. I've heard a lot of things about something called an umbrella policy. What does that cover, and how do I know if I need one?
Okay. An umbrella policy or a PUP, personal umbrella policy, basically what it is an extension of the liability limits that you have on your car insurance and other insurances. Typically, an individual is going to have an umbrella policy if he has a lot of assets to protect, or if he's got younger children in the household who may present more of a liability risk. Basically, what an umbrella does is it gives you choose the limit of an umbrella. Typically, the minimum liability limit on an umbrella is $1 million, can go as high as $10 million or higher. It all depends on what kind of assets you have to protect. But basically, what it does is it provides additional liability coverage on top of your car insurance, motorcycle insurance, home insurance, etc. Better protection, better better protecting of your assets.
Got it. Okay. What if I had a motorcycle? Would that be covered under my automobile policy?
A motorcycle would actually be a separate policy. Personal auto policy is based on a four-wheel vehicle. Motorcycles are different. There's some coverages like that PIP coverage, for instance. It's required to be held that you have that on your car insurance, but it's not available on motorcycle insurance policies.
Oh, okay. Great. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Bill Grodman, an insurance agent over in West Chase. He is located at 9622 West Linebaugh in Tampa. And again, that's in the West Chase area of Tampa. If you'd like to speak with him, if you have questions about some of the things that we're talking with today, you can call him at 813-336-4904. So, Bill, we've been talking a little bit about motorcycles. I know you're a bit of a motorcycle enthusiast. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. I do have a motorcycle. I enjoy riding it. It's good way to clear your head, get out on some roads up in the Pasco and Hernando counties, get away from it all. And again, we do write a lot of motorcycle insurance out of our agency as well.
Okay, great. Is motorcycle coverage required in the state of Florida?
Interesting. It's not required unless you get into an accident and cause damage to somebody else's property or injuries to somebody else. But if you don't, you can ride around legally in the state of Florida without it. The other thing is if you do choose to ride without a helmet, I wouldn't recommend that. But if you do, you have to be able to show that you have either $10,000 in medical payments coverage on your motorcycle or that you have health insurance of at least $10,000.
Okay, got it. We were talking about discounts with your automobile policy a little bit ago. Do I get a discount if I insure both my automobile and my motorcycle with your agency?
Absolutely. If you insure your cars as well as your motorcycles, it's a pretty sizable discount that you get on the motorcycle insurance premium.
Okay. Would it also apply to my car as well?
Wouldn't apply to your car, but it's a good discount that you get on the motorcycle policy by having that the car is insured with the carrier as well.
Okay, got it. So my next question I have for you, Bill, if I have a motorcycle insurance with you and someone rides on my bike with me, are they also covered?
I did not know you had a bike, Terry. That's a good question. If you're carrying guest liability or passenger liability coverage, there is coverage for the person riding on your bike. However, if you don't carry that coverage on your motorcycle policy, there is no coverage for that individual.
So there's none. So if there's an accident or that person falls off or hurts themselves,
yeah, you need to get that passenger liability coverage.
Got it. Okay, that's really important to know. Thank you for sharing. Has the typical motorcycle owner changed over time?
I would say so. In the last 10 years or so, you're seeing more people, your middle class, middle-aged, getting on the bikes. In the older days, it used to be more of a rough crowd, but now there's a whole lot more people. It's not unusual to see CEOs of companies riding bikes these days. On top of that, there's a lot more women riders than there used to be. A lot of the motorcycle companies market a lot more towards women. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, with the price of gas going up so much over the last couple of years, you've seen a lot more people buying bikes as well.
Okay. Are there any discounts that you can offer me for my motorcycle?
Sure, Terry. If you're a member of a motorcycle organization such as MSF, the Motorcycle Safety Foundation, or HOG, which is Harley Owners Group, plus several others, there's discounts for that. There's also good rider discounts available. If you've taken a safety course within the last several years, there's discounts available for that as well. And if you have multiple bikes, there's multiple bike discount available as well. Believe it or not, we insure some people who have upwards of 6 or 7 bikes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Excellent. Just out of curiosity, lots of mopeds are on the road as well. Mm-hmm. Would that be covered under the motorcycle portion, or is that more like an ATV? Or
yeah, mopeds, scooters. There are motorcycle policies is what they're written on. And yes, there are a lot more of those coming into the market now. Again, especially with the price of gas, the way it's gone up, we see a lot more A lot more people riding scooters.
Got it. Okay. I know that you've got a ton of information about auto insurance and motorcycle insurance on your website, and our listeners can go to your website and learn more at www.bestinsurancetampa.com. We're speaking with Bill Grodman of Grodman Insurance. If you have questions, you can reach Bill by calling 813-336-4904. I'd like to kind of just switch our conversation a little bit, Bill, if we could, and jump over to homeowners insurance.
Sure.
Okay, great. Homeowners insurance is often in the news in the state of Florida. Why is that?
Well, the homeowners insurance market in the state of Florida, it's very fluid. It's constantly changing. It probably initially started back in 1994 when Hurricane Andrew came into the state and caused billions of dollars worth of damage. After that occurred, many of your major carriers, the big name insurance carriers, started non-renewing customers and stopped writing policies in the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
As time went on, most of the carriers that were writing home insurance in the state of Florida are Florida domiciled carriers that started in the state of Florida. They're not your big regional players, not names that your average person on the street would recognize.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, the susceptibility of our state for natural catastrophes, hurricanes, tropical storms, etc., it makes it not as appealing for carriers to want to write business in our state just because the risk is that much higher than it is in most other places.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When you talk about not writing insurance, and I know that sometimes it's very difficult for folks to get homeowners, especially when they're buying a house and they're first timers. Are you able to write homeowners insurance here in the Tampa Bay area?
Absolutely. We have carriers, multiple carriers that we write through, and we can write anywhere in the state of Florida. It might be with the state insurance company, but on top of that, we have many other carriers who are writing business throughout the state of Florida.
Okay, great. Well, it's good to know that someone is writing something out there. That's
absolutely.
awesome. Okay.
Absolutely.
What's the most important thing for a customer to think about when they're purchasing a homeowner policy from you?
Well, what you want to make sure, no matter who you're buying your home insurance policy from, is that the carrier is an admitted carrier in the state of Florida. And basically what that means is if that carrier should become insolvent, hopefully it doesn't, but if that monster storm comes in and wipes out a carrier, if they're an admitted carrier, they will be covered by the Florida Guarantee Fund, meaning that those claims would be paid by the Guarantee Fund of the state of Florida.
Okay.
That's pretty important. And then, a homeowner's insurance policy it's considered a package policy. It's fairly complex. There's a lot of different things it covers the house, covers the contents, covers liability, etc. So you want to make sure when you're dealing with your agent that they explain all the coverages to you, what they mean, what's covered, what's not covered, and make sure that you get a good policy and you understand what you're buying.
Okay, great. How do you determine how much insurance somebody is required to have on their home?
On a home insurance policy, each carrier uses what's called a replacement cost estimator. Basically, what that does is it takes the specs, the building specs on the house, what it's built of, the square footage, the flooring, the roofing, any attached structures like pools, screens, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Takes those, puts them into a calculator, replacement cost estimator, and it's going to say, okay, to rebuild your house, at today's dollars is going to cost X amount of money. And oftentimes, people these days are buying, because the home market is down, people will buy a house for $150,000. We'll tell them they need to insure it for $250,000. And you have to have that explanation that, okay, though your house, you only paid $150,000, if you're going to rebuild it like kind of quality at today's dollars, this is what's going to cost.
Got it. Okay. And then you take the goodwill of the area into that consideration as well, or not so much anymore?
Not so much. It's basically going to be construction costs in
okay.
that zip code that individual's living in for like kind of quality at today's dollars.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that can impact your homeowner's premium in the state of Florida?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
The main thing is year of construction. If your house was built after March 2002, you're built to the most current building code, and there's many discounts available for that.
Mhm.
If you have a roof that's put on after March 2002, I would recommend that you get what's called a wind mitigation inspection report done. It'll cost you about $80 or so to get that report done, but basically what that report's going to do, it's going to take a look at the roof, the size and the spacing of the nails, the shape of the roof, how the trusses are attached, and all those things could go pretty far in giving you discounts on your home insurance policy. On top of that, how a home is constructed. A home that's block construction is going to cost less than a home that's frame construction. Discounts are available for things like monitored alarms, living in gated communities, etc. So there's all those things come into play when pricing and when getting discounts for home insurance.
Okay, got it. We talked a little bit with our auto insurance about getting discounts on your auto insurance. There are certain things that were available. Are there discounts available on homeowners insurance as well?
Sure. Again, the monitored alarm discounts, those go pretty far. The wind mitigation discounts,
Okay.
Gated communities, things like that. Claim-free discounts are available. Some home insurance carriers utilize credit scoring, some don't, but the ones that do, you can get a discount for having an excellent credit score as well.
Okay, great. I know that when I got engaged, my engagement ring needed to be on a rider or a floater or something. Why does jewelry have to be on a separate type of policy?
If you have an item such as a piece of jewelry or fine arts that is not something not typical, you want to have those scheduled on what's called a scheduled personal property policy. And why that is because most home insurance policies have internal limits built into them on values. For instance, most carriers have $1,000 for a piece of jewelry. Oftentimes we'll see somebody who has a piece of jewelry that costs $15,000, $20,000 or more.
Right.
If that's the case, you get a separate jewelry policy, which they're pretty cheap, and they're typically all risk coverage as well.
What does all risk mean?
All risk means basically any type of loss, any type of cause of loss will be covered.
Oh, okay. So it can just be like stupidity and that's covered?
Stupidity is not excluded.
Okay. Got that. Alrighty. Great. And then, quick question before we take a break. I was curious to know why my personal belongings that are in my car, if I had a loss in my car and I had some CDs or something, or tapes or personal property in my car for whatever reason, that's not covered under my car insurance.
If you have personal belongings, if you let's say you were going out of town and you stopped for lunch before you went out of town and you left your 3 suitcases in your car and you come back from lunch and lo and behold those suitcases are gone, you're going to have some problems. But that's not covered under your car insurance because your comprehensive or theft coverage on your car covers if your car is stolen. If your personal items are stolen, that is typically included in your homeowner's insurance.
I see. Okay, that makes more sense. I wasn't clear as far as that. You've been listening to Go Mind Your Business on All of Your Business Radio, and we've been speaking with Bill Grodman of bestinsurancetampa.com. You can reach him by calling 813-336-4904, and we're going to take a quick break from our sponsor, Extreme Marketing Concepts, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to Go Mind Your Business. My name is Terry Bork on All of Your Business Radio. Special thanks to our sponsor, Extreme Marketing Concepts, helping you put your business in front of the hungry herd of buyers who are currently looking for you at the current time. If you have questions about marketing for your business, please give them a call at 813-863-1452. On our program today, we're speaking with Bill Grodman of Grodman Insurance. Bill has a great website out there called www.bestinsurancetampa.com that you can go to learn more about the various insurance products that Bill has to offer. You can also reach them by calling 813-336-4904. And their office is conveniently located in West Chase at 9622 West Linebaugh Avenue. Whereabouts in West Chase is that, Bill?
It's at the Avenues of West Chase, right across the street from Burger 21, if you're familiar with that.
Great.
So you could stop in for lunch and then come up and see us for your insurance needs.
Yeah, it's a beautiful office that he has up there. Bill, I just want to talk a few minutes about Hurricane Storm Sandy that just went through. And I know many people in the Northeast were impacted. What can we down here in Florida learn through the storm to make sure that should a hurricane happen in Florida, that we're properly prepared?
Well, first thing you want to do is have a conversation with your insurance agent. Make sure you have adequate coverage to rebuild your house if it is destroyed in a storm. If the last time you took a look at your home insurance policy was 10 years ago and your replacement cost or your dwelling coverage on your home has not changed in 10 years, chances are that you might be fairly underinsured. So I'd recommend you have a conversation with your agent and talk about how much you have that house insured for. The second thing is that many of the losses that occurred as the result of what they're calling Superstorm Sandy have to do with rising water. Rising water is also known as flood. Flood is not covered by your home insurance policy. Flood is a separate policy. So the rising water situation caused many of those losses up in New York and New Jersey. And there's many areas in the state of Florida that are flood required zones, but more that are not flood required zones. About 1 in every 4 flood claims does occur in an area that's not an area that requires flood insurance, but that coverage is readily available. So for the cost of flood insurance, which is about $1 a day, I think it's money well spent, and it is one of the biggest risks that people throughout the country do face.
So you're saying that it's about $1 a day. So is that $1 a day attached to your homeowner's policy?
It's actually a separate policy. Separate flood insurance is a separate policy, covers the risk of rising water, and it's on top of the cost of your home insurance. But again, for the cost $1 a day, having 3 inches of water come into your house can cause upwards of $25,000 to, depending of course on the size of your house, but to the sheet wall, flooring, etc. So again, for the cost of $1 a day, it's pretty good hedge on the bet of flood insurance affecting your home. And as I said, about 1 in 4 flood claims do occur in those areas that are not considered flood zones, not considered high risk flood zones.
Okay. Does the whole neighborhood or your whole area, like all of the Northeast was impacted with waters that rose? Can it be just like a small little area? And then I'm just curious that the flood insurance would apply. A couple months back, we had the No Name Debbie storm, or I guess it was named Debbie. But certain areas were impacted with lots of water and were evacuated, and other areas had no water at all. So does it matter? Would any of that have been covered under your homeowner's insurance? Do you specifically have to have like flood insurance to cover that?
Again, if it's rising water, it's going to be covered by flood insurance, okay? And if it's wind-driven rain, so in other words, if you had a storm come in, cause damage to your roof or damage to the window, and the water comes in the house, wind-driven rain, that's covered under your home insurance. But if it's that rising water where there's that sudden, the high tides and the combination with the rain causes the water to rise, and then that causes damage to the property, that will be flood insurance.
Got it. Okay. I hear lots of talk about flood zones: flood A zone, flood B zone, flood C zone. How do you know what flood zone you're in, and if you're required to have a flood insurance policy or not.
Well, typically, if your home is financed, your mortgage company is going to tell you at the outset of that loan that you will need to carry flood insurance. If your home is not financed and you own your home outright, it's going to be your decision. The way you can find out is you can call your agent, and typically your agent has the ability to advise you what flood zone you're in. And if your agent can't, you could always call me.
Okay, perfect. So a buck a day, you're saying the average flood insurance costs about $350?
Yeah, $380 a year.
Okay, perfect. Is that for a specific size house, or are we not covering the house, we're covering the contents, or?
You can get flood insurance covering the building, the house itself for $250,000, and contents for $100,000. That's going to run you about $380 a year if you're in a low to moderate risk flood zone. If you're in a high risk zone, a house in the water, a house in a floodplain, it's all going to be dependent on an elevation certificate, which basically tells you where the level of the house compared to the base flood elevation.
Okay, great. And your personal belongings that are inside the home, that's what we're really looking to make sure is covered then.
Well, you want to make sure the building itself as well as your contents are covered.
Okay.
You have the option to exclude your contents, but if you want to have a good, well-rounded policy, you're going to insure your home as well as the contents.
Okay. Will the flood policy cover my car in case my car, gets stuck in all those waters?
That would not be covered by your flood insurance policy, but if you do carry comprehensive coverage for your vehicle, that would be covered under the comprehensive coverage.
Sweet. Okay, great.
So are you well covered?
I'm well covered.
All right,
Okay, good. Now, what about renters? They don't own a home. Would it be important for them to get flood insurance?
It depends. It's I would never tell someone not to buy flood insurance because you never know what can happen.
Mhm.
But if you're in a high rise, above the second floor, third floor, and you're inland, you'd probably do okay without it. But again, you can't predict the future, so I would never say you don't need it.
Got it. Okay. How about a renter who doesn't own a home, but they want to cover their belongings against the same thing that a homeowner's policy would cover you for, theft or fire? Is there such policies out there for them?
Sure. Renter's insurance is if these days, and I think I read an article recently said that there's more people renting in the city of Tampa than own homes in the city of Tampa. And those people own their belongings and have liability exposures as well.
Mm-hmm.
So renter's policies are readily available, and basically a renter's policy is going to cover that person's belongings, their personal property.
Mm-hmm.
It's also going to provide medical expense coverage if somebody gets hurt while at their apartment or the house they're renting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also going to provide liability coverage if that person gets hurt and they get hurt pretty bad and they decide to sue you.
Okay.
And there's that liability coverage that's built into the renter's policy and renter's insurance policy as well.
Okay. So that personal umbrella policy that we talked about a while ago, would that attach to a rental policy then if you didn't have a homeowner's type policy?
Correct.
Okay.
If you're carrying a renter's insurance policy and you have the required underlying limits, which is typically $300,000 liability, then you can purchase an additional umbrella policy on top of that.
Okay, great. And are there any other types of discounts for property customers out there that they can be aware that they make sure they get?
Again, the main things are the newer the home, the lower the insurance rate's going to be. If you're coastal, you're probably going to have a higher rate than somebody who's inland.
Sure.
The monitored alarm discounts, claim-free discounts, wind mitigation factors discounts as well.
Okay, got it. All right. We're speaking with Bill Grodman of the Grodman Insurance Agency. You can reach Bill by calling 813-336-4904. And you can also get your questions answered by visiting his website at www.bestinsurancetampa.com. And insurance is spelled out. Bill, I want to change pace just a little bit and talk to you about life insurance. I know that is an area that your office writes as well. What kind of life insurance policies do you sell?
Virtually, there's multiple different types of life insurance policies, from a simple term insurance policy to a whole life policy, universal life, variable universal life. We even have some group life products through our workplace division.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot. Um, you said too that I'm really familiar in hearing a lot. You said term and permanent. Can you tell me what the difference between the two are?
Certainly. The term insurance policy is a policy that's good for a certain amount of time, a certain period of time, or a certain term. If you purchase a 20-year term insurance policy
Mm-hmm.
and you die in that 20-year term, your beneficiaries will get a payout. If you buy a 20-year term policy and you don't die, your beneficiaries don't get a payout.
Okay.
A permanent policy is a policy where you can design it that policy, if it's funded properly, that policy will last forever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you want to start your policy at today when you're 25 years old,
Mm-hmm.
you want that policy to last forever, you can structure the payment plan so that policy lasts forever. So a term type policy is built for getting when you're younger. It's going to be generally cheaper for you, but over the course of time, depending on how long you want that insurance to last for, you may be better suited with a permanent plan or a combination of some term insurance and some permanent insurance.
Okay, great. How do you work with your customers to determine the right amount of insurance that they might need? Do they require financial planning?
Well, you have to try to quantify from the person's age that they currently are, what kind of expenses they have, if and how their family would get by if they were no longer in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have 2 or 3 kids and they may be in elementary school, junior high school. I'm sorry, we call that middle school in Florida. You want to make sure you have proper funding for them when they go to college. You want to make sure that you have proper funding to take care of paying off the mortgage, paying off the vehicles, and to be able to replace that income that you're going to provide for the next 10, 15, 20, 25 years, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, there is a science to it, but it's, quantifying that number is important. The most important thing is taking that first step. Most people in the United States don't carry enough life insurance, and believe it or not, there's a large percentage of people in the United States who don't carry any life insurance outside of what they have at work. So once you get that conversation started and people understand that there is a need, then it's our job to come up with a solution that fits within their budget to make sure that their family is protected.
Right. And I know, like, a lot of folks who have insurance through their work, a lot of them give you double your salary.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have an opportunity to purchase more.
Mm-hmm.
If you purchase more, are you able to take that with you when you retire?
Typically your group life insurance plans that you have through your employer are not, you can't take them with you. What's known as portability. You can't take them with you when you leave your job.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the old days, people worked for the same company for 20, 30, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer the case. So the average person in this country changes jobs every 4 years. That being said, if you left your employer and you didn't have your life insurance, and before you started your new job with your group life insurance there, and something unfortunate should happen to you in that time frame, then you're going to leave your family with nothing. So that's why we always tell people it's important to take a look it's great that you have it through work, because typically it's very affordable, but it's also very important to get something outside of work for multiple reasons. A, if you lose that job, and B, you want to guarantee insurability. If you're 25 years old and you're in great health, life insurance is going to be very, very inexpensive for you. But if you wait till you're 45 years old, suddenly you've developed diabetes, or you might have had some kind of heart disease, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to get life insurance, number one. Number two, the cost factor is going to be crazy, because once you develop something, some kind of medical history, it makes it much more difficult and much more expensive to get the policy.
Got it. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. So basically, we're not waking up today saying, hey, I need $10,000 worth of life insurance, or I need $250. There's really a science in helping me calculate and specifically what I need to do with the specific money that I want to fund.
Absolutely.
Okay, got it. Is life insurance expensive to get, since we're talking about getting these private policies instead of going through your job?
Well, the cost of purchasing life insurance is a lot cheaper than the cost of not purchasing life insurance.
Mhm.
You know, if you leave your family, if you die prematurely and you leave your family with no means of support, that's going to be real expensive.
Sure.
But life insurance, the cost of life insurance is based on many factors: age, whether you're male, female, as well as medical history.
Mhm.
Those are the main things that affect your life insurance rate. So the bottom line is, the younger you are, the cheaper the policy will be. And if you avoid, bad habits, smoking, jumping out of parachutes, those kind of,
Mhm.
airplanes with parachutes, those kinds of things could
Mhm.
affect your rate.
Right. Now, well, is it better to work with, an experienced insurance agent who's know what he's doing instead of, going and find something off the internet and saying, "Hey, I can get, $500,000 for $5?" So,
Yeah, I would say so. You want to make sure you do your due diligence, that the insurance carrier that's represented is
Mhm.
financially stable. That's number one.
Sure.
And number two, you want to make sure that the person that you're dealing with has experience in the industry, knows what they're talking about, and can do a good job of helping you quantify how much insurance you need, and also help to make that fit within your budget.
Right. And I would assume there's a lot of personal information that you're sharing, so a
Absolutely.
trusted professional is definitely the way to go.
Absolutely. You want to talk to somebody that you trust, somebody who's going to keep all your information confidential,
Right.
and they'll develop a plan that's going to fit within your needs.
Got it. Okay. And then, in the event of, when we're talking about life insurance, so the agent that you're working with, is going to be the one that's going to sit down with your family after something happens to you
Hmm.
as the beneficiary to the program. So they'll actually know who they're dealing with. So
Correct.
those other questions that could come up later can be handled properly as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then you're able to guide the family member with the best way to spend the proceeds of the life insurance?
Yeah, it's true too. It's a tough time when somebody passes away,
Mhm.
but if that person passes away, and all of a sudden the beneficiaries gets a check for $500,000, $1 million, 100,000, whatever it may be. Oftentimes they're not going to be in the right mindset of what to do with that investment. But it's good to talk to a financial professional who's well rounded on the life insurance side, as well as the other side of the game too, helping them use that money strategically, make it last for the future, and for the best, use it best for the family.
Great, awesome. Okay. Do all life insurance policies require some sort of medical testing?
Not all life insurance policies do. Most policies require, depending on, of course, the coverage amount, the age of the individual, most policies are going to require a blood sample, urine sample, height and weight check. However, there are some policies that are pretty much, there's no medical requirements. We do have some policies available if somebody's afraid of a needle, where there is not a requirement to give blood and
Got
do
it.
the further medical testing.
Okay, great. Is there a good age to start considering life insurance?
Um, it's the best age to start considering life insurance, if you haven't done it already, is the age you are now. Okay.
Mhm.
But the younger you are, the cheaper that policy is. So if you get a policy when you're young and healthy, it's going to cost you a lot less than if you wait till, again, you're my age.
Okay, got it. All right. So to wrap up, why should people listening to you buy insurance from your agency?
We're not in the business to sell insurance. We're in the business to educate our customers and to develop a long-term relationship with our customers.
Mhm.
And over the years, I think we've done a good job at that. We have a pretty loyal client base, and we always try to do what's right for our customers.
Mhm. Got it. Is there any specific areas that you're servicing or you're looking to grow your client base in?
Well, we do handle the entire state of Florida. We are located in West Chase. We have a pretty, most of our clients are in Hillsborough, Pasco, Pinellas County area, but we do
Mhm.
have clients throughout the state of Florida. And we do have a network of agents that we affiliate ourselves with. If somebody chooses to move out of the state, that we can make recommendations for them. But
Sure.
again, we do handle the entire state of Florida. whether it's home insurance, car insurance, motorcycle insurance, life insurance, even helping with retirement. We'll be here for you.
Awesome. Great. We've been speaking with Bill Grodman of Grodman Insurance. And again, you can reach Bill by calling 813-336-4904. He's happy to answer any questions that you might have about you and your insurance. You can also go to his website and learn more about insurance by visiting www.bestinsurancetampa.com. And again, Bill's office is located in the West Chase area of Tampa at 9622 West Limbaugh Avenue, Tampa, Florida 33626. My name is Terry Bork. Our show today has been sponsored by Extreme Marketing Concepts, helping you put your business in front of the hungry herd of buyers who are looking for you. Bill, thank you so much for joining us today. It was my pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having us, Terry.
My pleasure. And this is Terry Bork reminding you to go mind your business, and I'll see you here next time. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Go Mind Your Business with Terry Bork, presented by Extreme Marketing Concepts. If you want to drive more traffic, dominate the market, and crush your competition, find out how by visiting our website, www.extrememarketingconcepts.com. And join Terry next time for another episode of Go Mind Your Business.